I just wanted to get into just a little background on my experiences and how long I've had them. It's been pretty much years since I've known to have these things. Like, I've heard of stories when I was younger via my mom, saying how, these are the times before caller ID, even, that people would call the house phone and I would know who was calling before the person, before they even found out who was calling. Or, even crazier was a friend of the family, he had not seen his father in years, in like 5 years or something. And I think I was about 3 or so at the time. And I said, oh, so and so, your father is coming to see you. And they just brushed it off, silly little girl, like she has no idea, not sure where like that came from me. And all of a sudden his dad came knocking on the door, I guess. And so yeah, they were ghost white in the face, I heard, and really, really nervous that that had occurred, and they just couldn't, they weren't expecting it. I'm gonna adjust, but I feel like you guys can see me better. You might even see Francie. So that's just one, or shall I say two, of many experiences in my lifetime with the paranormal and things like this, of this nature. I've just felt very connected to that. As you can sense that, hearing these stories from my mother about me when I was younger, and just knowing that being so little before I was really influenced by many things and having my own thoughts about it and whatnot, I just was very, very connected to, this other realm, or otherworldly things you could say, and just like a sixth sense of the world. So I just had these connections, and, I just basically wanted to share, those here on my channel, because it's a part of me and it's been for a long time, and I think it's really fun to hear those stories. Other times, which I'm just kind of like computing in my mind the scenarios, because I have quite a few, and a lot of them I've actually forgotten over time. I guess I'll fast forward to probably when I was about like 10 years old or so. And I was over at my stepfather's house, and they had moved into a new home. They had lived in a few different homes, of course, because with new relationships and things, like, you move into, the other person's original house, and then you build a family together and you move to their house, whatever. So they had moved to a new home, and my sister and I, of course, would visit because it was her father, him on the weekend. And I'm just kind of like retracing this back in my mind, because what I see and remember is like these stairs that were there. You'd go up them, and there was like a little closet like to your left when you first like walked in this house. And then when you went up the stairs, there was our little room that we had when we would stay there. It was like the first bedroom, this little guest room with like bunk beds. I would always be on the bottom, my sister would always be on top. And so anyways, so we were there, and like I can't remember exactly, because I know like Alex, the sister's room, was like, our stepsister's room at the time was like to the right, and then the parents' room was like a little further down the hallway to the left or so, I think, like on the same side as us. And then there was a bathroom, I believe, at the end of the hallway, if I can remember correctly. I feel like that was the setup, because they had been in a few different houses, so going back in time without photos and stuff really makes me confused about it. Like, I remember a lot of like the downstairs, I remember, because we spent a lot of time there. So downstairs there was the little living room couch area where the little front door is, like normal, like normally people have. Then there was like this little hallway that went down into a basement, and I feel like I dream about this house a lot, to be honest, and mix it with other houses, or glitches in the system, I guess. But anyways, you'd go down the basement, like it was like a second floor basement level-ish thing, but it wasn't like a spooky basement, it was like a comfy, like cool basement, where you could actually live and sleep. And then there was a kitchen hallway, and you could go in the kitchen, and I remember what the kitchen was like, and it was still like in the living room area. And then there was like a dining room area on the other side. So there was like a wall that divided the kitchen and the dining room. You couldn't see it. There was a little mini door, and then that door to the basement in the living room. So you could like kind of peek into the kitchen, or like, you know, it wasn't quite an open concept, like out in the open see everything, but you could communicate with people if they were in the other room. Like you could be like, hey, blah, 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 can you come in the kitchen to help me? And then off the kitchen on the other side turned into like this outside porchish area, but we had it as like another part of the house with like the computer and everything. And then you'd eventually get out of the back door of that house, like the apartment side house or whatever, and then there'd be like the backyard. So anyways, you know, upstairs, I remember, like, because our room was the first room, when you got up those stairs, sorry for my long explanation, you know, we would often hear footsteps. And when I had spent the night one night, I had heard like something like footsteps coming up these stairs. So when I looked over, like, I was kind of nervous because I would always see this, like, I'll never forget the door either. The door in our closet in the room was, you know, inside, you know, like right in front of my face. Like, I would wake up every morning and this closet door would be shut, you know, with the wood grain having this like figure on it. I could never forget it. It was like always looked like a face to me. So I was like, okay, kid stuff, like whatever. Then, you know, from my diagonal, you know, section, like most rooms are or whatever, you know, you see like the door, and there's like a window over here, but there's a door. So I literally see like two people after I hear these footsteps. I see like two apparitions, excuse me, however you say that. And I just remember being like frozen. Like, I was like nervous, but I was calm, because the demeanor of these entities or spirits or whatever, these people at the time, because I just assumed they were like people to me, they were calm. It was like a nice, you know, they weren't mean, they weren't scary, but there was like a gentleman in older clothes, and he just like kept walking, you know, he walked by my room, he wasn't really concerned. And then there was this older, no, not even older woman, this woman in older clothes, I should say, like, you know, Victorian era or something, like just in a kind of like, she had a skirt on, and, you know, her hair seemed to be up or short or something. She didn't really have long flowing hair or anything. So she just seemed to appear, you know, as an older, you know, genre of clothing and things. And I just remember, like, you know, wow, like noticing she was there, and then feeling like this person knew I was awake and was just like looking at me like, is she awake? Is she not awake? And then literally bringing their hand up as if they were gonna wave. And she put it up like lightly like this, and then put it back down and walked away. Just like somebody in real life, like, not to say real life, but a person in reality, like, being that. And then I was like, okay, I'm obviously really tired. Let me just settle back and go back to sleep. So that was my paranormal experience. I know it's kind of like short, but with a long, like, randomy build-up of my step-parents' house, or my stepdad's house at the time, with that. And when he moved to other homes, I really picked up on a lot of things, but that home and specifically was like the most, like, that's the first time I ever saw what I consider to be a ghost presence in real life. The other thing was that his daughter, well, our stepsister or whatever at the time, like, she was also mentioning, and she was older than us, she was like 16 I think at the time, or maybe even like, you know, 13 or 14, because I was only young, 10ish, and she's only a few years older, so maybe like 14 or so, whatever, but she was still a teenager and had a little bit more like sense. She lived there every day, so she was there every single day, and she got feelings about it, and would also hear footsteps going up the stairs. And like, my stepdad would get like, you know, hearing footsteps up the stairs or things like that. So everybody kind of felt like there was some type of presence, and we all got the same just general idea of like a couple there. I don't know whatever more came of it. It would be interesting to like go back and speak to my stepdad and my stepsisters and things like that, and ask them about it and see like what they remember or whatever. So there was other places that are coming back to me a little bit. Another place was my grandmother's, who I live next door to, which she actually has just recently passed away. on February 8th, and so that's another thing that's just really pushing this like strong urge to connect with that kind of side of myself again and not be afraid of it anymore, because I could literally go on about stories for days. I might even have my Ouija board experience in its own video that I might get into, on its own topic. So, it's still surreal to me, and I know things have happened, and like, it's just so surreal to me. I've always gotten feelings in my grandmother's house. I'm actually getting like this like really intense pit in my stomach right now. But just this energy in general over there was just like, she had an upstairs and a downstairs, an apartment side. And my grandfather had been long gone before I was born. He passed in 89. I was born in 91. So, I just feel like I really picked up on a lot of his energies in the house. He did not pass at that house, but I feel like he lingers around a certain area. They owned a family-owned business, had a business, and we grew up in it as well, but I just really felt his presence, like not knowing exactly enough about him throughout my whole entire life, through little stories and things of my aunt and cousins that were around during his time of life, and then just kind of getting that vibe that like I actually didn't even know who the heck it was all these years, and then I kind of feel like really strong now, like it was him all these years, like all those wild like coincidences and like just freaky paranormal things, within my grandma's place and also within their business is definitely tied to him. And I did not even know him, but I feel like that's his connection. But I can get into that a little bit later. So many paranormal experiences. Like I said, I really want to get into the Ouija board experience with you guys. It's something that I'm kind of against now. I don't mind if people are into it. I like the aesthetic of it, I guess. But will I have it in my home? Will I put it up like a decoration? No. I do not believe this, because I just have such a strong, crazy connection to that board in general, and I feel like I've always been so connected to this kind of things without the extra help, that when I mix those things together, it kind of creates this like not so good situation. Let's see what other things, like, and I'm gonna like tag the videos below if I get into that, and if you guys like this video enough and if I do a good job, please like my video. But yeah, since my daughter's sleeping, it's like throwing my mind off track as to what I want to say and do. I can't remember many other... Oh, yes, I can remember experiences, because it was right here in my very room here. As you can see, my sister and I actually shared this room that I'm now in, that's known as my room now, many years ago. This side is purple, this wall is purple, and now the other side is too, but that side has always been purple because that part of the room was always my side of the room, and then this room behind the camera and everything was my sister's side of the room. We had our beds facing this way, so you guys can kind of get a feel from how my room is now, and it's a crazy mess. I'm not showing you it. Something should be left personal, whatever. So I used to sleep with my bed this way. We had a family friend who we originally got our home from. It's like a mobile home. From a friend in the family, and she had actually passed away in the bathroom here, and it was not really any kind of secret. When I started feeling things and having experiences, I think my mom might have mentioned that to us, that, oh, it's probably just this person, Madeline at least live here, and she, is nice, she's not gonna hurt you or whatever. Like, my mom was very positive about things like this. So when I had told her, that one night laying in our room, we used to sleep with the door open, and the bathroom is right next to my room. So I always felt, and thinking thereafter, that she was very attracted to our room because maybe it was her room. I'm not entirely sure. I'd almost dare to say, like, Madeline, if your presence is near and this was your room, feel free to acknowledge that it was. But I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what kind of room this was. I almost feel like she did some sewing or something in here. I'm very drawn to sewing. I love to sew myself. I think it kind of goes in the family. My mom's not super into that, so it's not like a motherly influence. Like, she sews, but not like that. Like, it's not like her like straight up hobby that she's into. Maybe she got out of it when she had us, and that's why I don't know her like that. But so this woman had passed, and um you know, I just feel like I felt her presence, and I seen this apparition once again. This is the second time actually that I saw like an actual ghost presence, and she was walking into the room, and you know, she yet again like kind of, you know, I got a little nervous during those times because I was like, I'm super tired. So I closed my eyes because I saw like this glow, like almost what I would consider like an aura now. This like glow of her like walking towards my bed at the time, like past my sister's bed to my bed, because I was awake, and I think because I saw her, and I feel like, you know, I'm an amateur at this, you know, really, but that again, I feel like it's something that comes natural, and I feel like when they know that you can sense them and you see them a little bit, they get like attracted to you. Like, they want to come over because they're like, wow, somebody really sees me right now. Like, it's good to be seen even in our, you know, day-to-day life. So, you know, if somebody's like, I see you, you know what I mean? Like, it's just nice. So I feel like, you know, because I have this sense and like feeling of things, and I look around because I feel a lot of presences. I don't know if it's really going on, but I just feel like sometimes I feel like a lot of presence. You know, so you know, I felt her, whatever. But what was really bizarre is that when I was laying in my bed, I moved my feet because I was laying, you know, I was on my bed, and I scooched my feet just like you would if you were making room for someone to sit down, and I could feel my blankets and things settling like someone was actually sitting down on the bed. And it wasn't like a heavy, super heavy thing, but I just could really feel as if somebody was sitting down on the bed next to me. Like, I made the room with my feet, and they were there. There were other times, you know, when I would feel like this cold chill or cold breeze just right in my face. So that was really, you know, interesting to feel as well. And now, you know, being on this side and hearing the wind blowing and things like that, you know, it could have been just logically explained as like, oh, the wind, you know, for instance, coming through here, my window's not even open, and it's just blowing like mad outside with the sunshine in, right? So those are a couple of my experiences as far as when I was younger, and like a really quick like hit or miss thing. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will get into some more things later, and until next time, faceless and goodness.